Verse 854. Knowledge that is the cause of the samskara is not to be described by the samskara. Knowledge that is known as the samskara seizes the samskara-path. The translator has put a little note, wondering if he's got this quite right. But let's see what we can make of it. So this verse relates to the samskara, which is a term that we've come across often enough before. And it's a term that's sometimes translated as mental or psychological formations. It's one that I translate as sensibilities. We actually all have our sensibilities. It's where we're coming from. And our sensibilities are made up of various factors, like our pattern of moods, our thought patterns, which are obviously linked to our pattern of moods, and our images of ourself and our thoughts about the world and the way we think of ourselves as relating to this world. So it's quite a big thing. And the samskaras are one of the 5 skandhas. It's one of these things which are going on irrespective of any notion of a self. It's what's going on. It's one of the 5 skandhas. It's also one of the nidanas in the Wheel of Life. These are the 12 links. In fact, the 5 skandhas more or less appear as 5 of these links, and they appear in a different order to how the skandhas are normally listed, which is quite interesting. I'm sure somebody must have looked into this. The skandhas as they appear in the 12 nidanas of the Wheel of Life. Now the nidanas are a link, a causal chain if you like. And what gives rise to the samskaras is ignorance. This is the nidana that immediately precedes the samskaras, ignorance. In other words, we're an automatic. We automatically operate from our sensibilities, and we think this is okay. This is who we are. We have a self-image, and we get by somehow with this. We get by in our everyday life with our sensibilities. Occasionally our sensibilities might get affronted. There's something which upsets us, or occasionally we indulge our sensibilities. So this is how we get through the day, by dealing with these things which affront our sensibilities, and by finding these things in which we can pleasantly indulge our sensibilities. These are the samskaras, and this is the samskara-path, the indulgence of our sensibilities. It's the path that we weave through life. So that relates to the second part of this verse. Knowledge that is known as the samskara seizes the samskara-path. That's the path of indulging our sensibilities and dealing with affronts to our sensibilities. Now, what is the cause of the samskara? It says knowledge that is the causes of the samskara is not to be described by the samskara. By the way, I should just say when I pluralize this, I do it in the English fashion. So the plural is maybe samskara, but I pluralize it as samskaras. So what is the knowledge that is the cause of the samskara? It's not to be described by the samskara. Well, as I said, it's ignorance that gives rise to the samskaras. We're an automatic. We're unconscious. We're unconsciously going along with our sensibilities. But if we're spiritually inclined, if we're looking for some deeper meaning, then we stop going along with these samskaras. We start questioning our own psychology. We start questioning our own tendencies. And if you're really on the ball, you'll start questioning your own sensibilities. Although very often, this is what passes for spirituality, is about indulging what you might consider to be your finer sensibilities. I think a lot of people stop at that point. But as enlightenment practitioners, we go further. We go further. And we start stepping back from our own sensibilities. And we can do this by seeing where the attention is at. What is the attention focused on? What is the attention being drawn to? And as enlightenment practitioners, we have the option of the attention coming to rest in itself. So knowledge that is the cause of the samskara is actually about being able to observe the attention and what the attention is getting up to. So this is not to be described by the samskara, because it's something beyond, apart from the samskara. Our sensibilities, when we're on automatic, are constantly being fueled. Our sensibilities fuel themselves. You can see this quite clearly when you're in a particular mood. The inclination is to indulge that mood, even if it's a bad mood. Even if it's a mood of jealousy, of rage. You want to find sticks to throw into it to fuel that rage, so you can justify it. And this is the same with our sensibilities. We basically think we're a decent person, and we'll find lots of ways to fuel that perception, to come to terms with our own sensibilities. Even if some of our sensibilities are quite malign, we'll find ways of justifying them, even though part of ourselves might be feeling quite distressed or guilty about it. We'll find ways to try and justify it, to try and justify certain malignant aspects of our psyche. So the sensibilities fuel themselves. As enlightenment practitioners, we have the opportunity to not fuel our sensibilities. And this means allowing the attention to rest, to not automatically give in to those things which it's being drawn to. We're very wary about it being hijacked. It is this wandering attention, this unawareness of what the attention is getting up to. This is the knowledge that fuels the samskara. It's the wandering attention that fuels the samskara. So the point of this verse here is to stop operating from our own sensibilities. And I think this is particularly relevant if you're a so-called spiritual person and you have a certain aesthetic sensibility. A lot of people that get into spiritual lifestyles have a very well-developed aesthetic or sense of aesthetic appreciation. And a lot of what they do is about indulging this aesthetic. And I think if you're watching these videos, then you're hopefully looking for something a bit more than that. There's nothing wrong with all that in itself, but like any sensibility, even pleasant sensibilities, is not getting us to the truth. I was watching The Matrix again recently, and the price of opting for the truth was to wake up into this shabby reality dominated by machines that wanted to feed off you. And there's some truth in this. If you're really interested in the truth, then you need to drop the notion that spirituality is about a higher aesthetic. It can be quite a shabby affair. But the sense of liberation in itself, the sense that you've actually woken up, is what makes it all worth it. Being able to see what is really going on. Although it doesn't necessarily involve a wonderful aesthetic, is what makes it all worthwhile.